this is a safe space. You don't have to hold back your tears, sister. You don't have to hide from anything. Like, let's capture your truest essence so you can fully accept yourself for the beautiful woman that you are, and you get to experience yourself through many different lenses, not just what you get to see in the mirror every day.
Welcome back to Open Late Podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Esfandiari, and today we've got a bonus for you. Lauren and I had such a great conversation that obviously it's hard to get the two of us to stop talking. Today we're going to be diving into all the projects and amazing things she's up to now, working with couples and using all of her different tools and modalities to help people with their intimate connections. So here we go. In our previous episode, we talked all about both of our extended travels. You've been solo traveling since after Burning Man last year, a couple weeks in Hawaii, and then you went to the Netherlands and Northern Lights and it's not the Netherlands, Aruba. Actually, Scandinavia. What am I saying? Yeah. And Aruba and Mexico. And I went to Asia, and we've kind of like had this relationship evolution, and we had a business breakup, but like the best kind. And you've been really building your brand and your offerings. And we were doing a lot of retreats for women together and holding ceremonies and being in that deep, like under the earth space of healing. And I think now we're both blossoming in different ways. And yours is, you were like, I want to travel and I want to be doing photography. So yeah, I kind of wanted to catch people up for people that might not know you. Let's start with your photo shoots for women, because you're still doing that and working with couples. And so you are currently getting ready to go to Mexico, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Panama. You're doing, okay, so you're basically traveling and hosting retreats and doing privates for couples, and also still doing women, and you're still doing women too, unintended. No, but open. Your photo shoots for women have always been a ceremony in themselves. Yeah, and I'll just share from experience. You take a woman through an evolution where she can shed anything that's not serving her to accept herself deeply. All of her, not only her inner child, her heart, but also her body. And it's very moving. I've been on the receiving end of it many times. I've co-facilitated with you. And I want to ask, because what I know about our work together is it's always evolving. We never stay stagnant. And things look very different than they did a year ago. So what's different about your work with women now than when we were working together?
I would say that I'm working more intimately with women, more one-on-one experiences. As I'm traveling, I realize, oh my gosh, I'm not shooting enough. I realize it's because I wasn't inspired in LA. And I'm more inspired shooting in these exotic locations with a beautiful naked woman. Yeah. So that's what's really changed a lot, is that I've been taking my work more global with women. And also just creating retreats wherever I go and having confidence within what we started, but really making it custom to whatever the woman needs. So in the Rising Goddess photo shoot experience with me, I decided in the moment how we are going to connect and create together before the photo shoot. And as you know, as most know, I do different guided exercises to open up the heart, open up the body, ecstatic dance. I might do some sound healing before the photo shoot also. But it's been really nice to use my intuition and decide in that moment, what does this woman need? What do I feel like this woman needs? Maybe she needs more of a deeply guided body scan meditation to release anything going on in her body, any shame, any hurt feelings. Also to celebrate the beautiful body that she has before stepping in front of the camera. And it's so also nice to be dancing in nature, to be dancing to the ocean waves as the wind is blowing our hair, to the most beautiful medicine music by our dear friend Ksenia.
Oh, that sounds incredible.
So I would say I've been working more intimately with women globally. That's what's been a huge change for me.
Yeah. I know you love to do one-on-ones. Like privates have always really been your thing. And I'm always like groups, like I want to affect the masses, but you really love to get intimate.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll keep
it's
saying
the Pisces in me.
It is. You want to go very deep in the waters with people.
Yeah.
And, you know, what types of things do people share with you that they're like overcoming in the work that you do together?
They share about a lot of their secrets that they've never told anybody, which feels so powerful that I get to we create that trust together because I give them an opportunity. I'm like, you're here, go all in on yourself. This is a safe space. You don't have to hold back your tears, sister. You don't have to hide from anything. Like, let's capture your truest essence so you can fully accept yourself for the beautiful woman that you are, and you get to experience yourself through many different lenses, not just what you get to see in the mirror every day, but you get to experience yourself in a vulnerable way, or when you're laughing or having fun. And my favorite thing about the photo shoots is getting people to laugh and just relax. Yeah. Because I'll just be such a freak behind the camera. Yeah. And so I love when I love seeing women tap into their own sexiness and their own playful energy. And then they start to own it. They're like, oh, well, Lolo's doing it behind the camera. Lolo's taking her top off too behind the camera. Yeah. I'm not going to be.
You know she does every time.
Yeah. I love it.
It's pretty great. You're like, oh, you're uncomfortable being naked? I'll go first. Shooting in the funnest places with you. I have the best memories. But I really love that. Thank you for sharing. I think that from my point of view, you know, doing the work that we've done, like when someone feels like they have like a secret, right? A secret usually carries a lot of shame. That's why it's a secret. Shame loves secrecy. And the moment that we share it with someone, not that it eliminates the shame, but it gives that shame, which is like a deep emotion, and usually the darkest emotion for most people, the most shadowy one, it brings it to the light. And like, it's not, you know, it's not a snap of the fingers for many people, but for some it is. And we've seen like that transformation in some women, like in the moment, like sharing something really powerful, and then they let it go, like to the wind or into the fire, like however you do it. And in that process, that thing that was the shame that they were maybe carrying gets pulled off their body, out of their experience, and now they're even more free, like in front of the camera, and it shows up in the photos. Like that's the coolest thing. Like I've seen that firsthand. So I love that you're still doing that. And it's just like anybody that gets to work with you is so lucky.
Thanks. It's such a gift. It's such a gift to meet with women all around the world, all different walks of life, all different ages, all different body types. And just so women can understand, like, I can do it too. Maybe I don't look like this woman, you know, but I can still access my own confidence within myself, you know. And people ask, like, well, how do I get to that point? Well, it's a journey to get to that point, you know. And like that's why I love to connect with you first, so that they feel comfortable with me, and so that I can feel comfortable with them too. So it's a process.
Now, is it the exact same process for couples? Because I know that you have been like doing photo shoot, like you just did one in my bedroom
so hot
while I wasn't here.
Yes, I was getting hot and bothered while I was shooting.
Yeah, so Lolo is like, hey, and we're gonna shoot, you know, these friends of ours who are like so sexy, and she's like, you know, your bedroom's empty, like I'm on vacation, and we were in Asia, and I'm like, oh yeah, of course. You are working with couples in the same way. And I know that like you do a lot of privates, so people can, and I'll just like say this very quickly, people can sort of pick and choose like the things that they want to do with you because you have so many offerings. But when you're doing a couple's photo shoot, a la the sexy one you just did in my bedroom. Is it the same experience? Are you having the couples, like, are you leading them through breathwork meditation? Are you guiding them? Then are you like putting them into like these positions, or are they doing it themselves? Like, give us the rundown.
All of the above.
Okay.
First of all, whenever I see a beautiful couple, I'm instantly so happy for them.
You're like,
maybe a little turned on, but I'm instantly so happy, and I can't wait to capture their joy and their love. I'm just such a lover of love, and like everyone's love is so unique and so different. So it's similar to the goddess photoshoots, in which they're connecting with their bodies, but they're connecting with their partner more. I love just telling the truth to a couple. And I always speak what's on my mind. I love giving people affirmations, telling people how hot they are, how beautiful, or complimenting their skin or hair, whatever I see on them that is beautiful, I make sure to let them know before the photo shoot. And so I have the couple first ground together in each other's energy, all of us together, and they're usually sitting in a lotus position. So she has her, she's straddling him. Sitting pretzel style, whatever. And I have them sync their breaths and get connected. So we do breath work first. And then I guide them through breath work that just helps them ground and connect together. And I have them get really intentional about how they want to feel during the photo shoot. And they'll get to share that with one another. And I guide them through just really beautiful connection exercises to where they're already feeling so in love in this experience, and the whole experience just feels very natural to them. I always get that feedback. It just felt so easy. We were just loving up on each other, cuddling, being intimate. But
like, do they start hooking up in front of you?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you just keep snapping?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm here for it. So I start with clothing on always in all my photo shoots. So even with the couples, there will be clothing on, and I'm like, all right, let's lose the shirt, or let's bring the bra strap down, and then it slowly
that's fun, because then you're
off.
Getting pictures of like the like shirt coming off.
Yeah.
Like that, like sexy, like.
It's funny too, because during the intimate couples photo shoots, things will get like really hot and heated. I'm like, okay, let's switch positions.
Okay, so you're like, when the energy starts to like build and they're like maybe like doing their own thing, you kind of pull them out.
Yeah, like, so we're still foreplaying.
Yeah, we're still getting. We're like, here, I'm doing this photo shoot.
Yeah, we're still gonna get all the shots that we need before it gets really, really sexy. We'll save that towards the end. So I make sure to get all the shots that they want, all the shots that I want first. So it's beautiful. I feel as if I'm directing them and guiding them, which is something I'm used to in threesomes. Amazing. So
you're taking your sex life experiences and applying it to your work.
100%.
As an intimacy photographer.
I love the sound of that.
Artemis. An intimacy artist.
So yeah, and so if it'll get hot and then it'll come back down and we'll take it down. But then if it's to the point where the couple
Freudian slip.
I'm getting flustered over here thinking about it, talking about it. I'm definitely here for it and open to photograph them making love. And I think it's so special when couples feel that comfortable with me to really go there. And I'm here for it too. And I think it's so beautiful. And I've done it several times.
I remember the first time you did it. It was years ago. It was like when we first, I think we were like just first getting together.
Yeah.
And like friends of yours, basically, I don't know if it was like a birthday or something, they wanted to do it as a gift for their partner, but you were like, yeah, I would love to. And like, I remember you came home from like that trip. You were like, basically it was like a couples retreat that you facilitated. And then, like,
it naturally just happened too.
That makes me so happy, because I remember you being like, I want to do this. This is like such a unique, special experience. And, you know, there's not a lot of this, I think, care put towards like, you know, homemade photography or video. And you're doing that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. But not every couple ends up like,
not every couple
like fully like having sex.
No, not every couple.
Okay.
So I think
it's to their level of comfort.
there definitely needs to be consent on both ends, and so that we both feel comfortable. I'm always going to feel comfortable. She's
like, I'm here for it always.
Yeah. Okay. And one time I was wearing lingerie.
Really?
Yeah.
Hot.
It was very hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. What? You thought of something? You're like, do I want to share this or no?
No, I was just thinking how that's really the direction. I was just thinking about how I've been taking my business, my brand, Lolo Urbiztondo, and how that's really the direction I want to be going towards is couples. On my website, there will be a whole section just for couples.
What do you think is the biggest thing that couples are getting out of this? Other than obviously the intimacy, the connection, the photos. Yeah.
They're really getting to learn more about their partner in another way because of questions that I'll be asking them.
Oh.
And it opens up both of their hearts even more. And I think they also learn about each other in front of the camera too, that they step into this new side of themselves that they don't always get to experience when it's just the two of them being
like
intimate.
A more performative.
Yeah,
side.
I think they get to play a little bit more and be a little more creative, a little more spicy, maybe because they know they're on camera and they want to capture different parts of them. But also I've heard them say that they get surprised after they get to look at the photos of themselves and see themselves in a new perspective too. So they're getting to witness their love in a different perspective, which is the best.
Yeah, third person of those intimate moments that, it's not like they're ever seeing themselves because they're in it. It's kind of like when you're a third. Like, well, in a way, that just made me think of when I got to watch like Pasha fall for you. And I was like, oh, I'm like kind of experiencing what it was like. I know what he's like when he's falling in love from first person, when he fell in love with me, and how like I felt to have his love, like knowing what his love feels like. But then I saw that on you. And obviously we're different, so you experienced it different. But I saw him like give his love to you and you respond to it and like be loved. And then I got to see like someone else love him. So I'm like, kind of drawing this parallel to what I think couples that work with you get to experience, because they're like, oh, we have this bird's eye view of us in these very intimate, very connected, probably loving, goofy, silly, sexy, whatever moments that they've likely never seen before because they're in it. So they're experiencing it from in it, not like, fly on the wall view, which is really cool. And I'm really happy because you are gifting this to Pasha and I.
I know.
In the 2 weeks that we're home, that we're all here.
We got to get it in. Either that or Costa Rica.
Oh yeah, that's true. We can do it at the villa. We're going to Envision.
So fun.
Stoked.
Yeah.
I went to this festival in 2020, right before COVID, and with a bunch of our Burning Man crew. And it was the only festival I've actually ever really been to, because Burning Man is really not. A lot of people, I think, assume that it is or put it in that category, but it's totally its own thing. And I had never been to an actual music festival until I went to Envision. And I went once and I told everyone that we must go. We all got tickets, and so we're going. We have a big crew.
Yeah, we got the crew. The crew's coming.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
It's going to be really fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what about you and couples? Are you interested in being a third?
Yeah. I mean, everybody knows that. Where I am in my life right now, especially, like, there's so much, I think, happening with us getting ready to, become parents sometime this year, like meeting, getting pregnant and starting our family. So I think investing a lot of time and energy into external relationships, for me, doing that like with a couple feels really good, because there's already a dynamic where they have another partner, and I have another partner. So dating people who, first of all, I wouldn't date anybody who was monogamous, because it just doesn't make sense. So, or maybe if they like have had experience with polyamory before or polyamorous relationships, but generally what I find is with another couple or somebody who is practicing polyamory and has these other relationships, there's going to be less focus on me as a partner because I can't provide that much of my time, right? I don't think like love is limited at all. I could love somebody who I only see twice a year. It doesn't really make any difference, but the amount of time that I can spend nurturing a relationship is very limited. And so, yeah, I mean, couples are also so great because they have their thing and you get to like pop in and be, you know, the person who gives them like all of their wants, needs, desires, whatever it is. Like, of course, everything's talked about first and we figure out if it's all aligned, but it feels really good to be that person that like, you know.
Would you ever want to experience what I experienced with another couple?
Like falling in love and really being in that relationship? That's a great question. Yeah, I think I'm open to it. You know, where I am in my life right now, I'm about to start a family. We're hoping to get pregnant this year. And so the amount of time and energy that I have to put into a relationship is limited. Of course, I don't think that my love is limited. I really fully feel poly and identify that way. And so I could see it. I don't know if it's going to happen at this stage in my life though, because like I have such big plans and I'm starting my own family. So I think what I'm interested in more is like light, fun play, you know, and maybe building relationships. But with another couple, it's so great because there's usually already a secure, like healthy relationship between the two of them. So you're really just getting to experience that, as you've talked about, and then you can add to it and you can receive from it. But it's already like this healthy thing. And not to say that people who are practicing like solo poly, you're not going to have like a healthy relationship with them. But the cool thing about people that have a primary partner or another partner in general is then they have each other when you're not there. And that's really nice. So there's not a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
It's like the ultimate, I don't know, it's like a triangle. We've said it before, it's the strongest shape in geometry for a reason. And so I think that I could be that. And I love the idea of, you know, being friends with people and then being able to blur those lines a little bit of like intimacy and romance and love and all of that. So I could see that. This is the first time I've ever had to think about that, actually. Do you see my brain working? I'm like,
yeah.
But I love the question. It's not something I've ever really considered. I've definitely considered being the unicorn and being the playful one and being like the one, yeah, like it's like having a job where you like would punch a card, you know, like that you don't take your work home.
Oh my God.
And like it's fun. So like meeting a couple on field and just like making their night, making their weekend, making their birthday, whatever. That sounds really fun. But to really think about being a part of someone's life, like you are with us, like such a massive part of our life. Like love the fact that you're living here right now.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm not open to it. And I think it would like with the right, the thing is with the right fit, with the right people, anything is possible. Like, especially if there was like another couple who were on the same page of life as I am right now, who either have kids and get it or want to start a family eventually. Like, so yeah, that's something to consider.
I have one other question. Yeah. What if it's a newer couple who's opening up their marriage? How
are you asking me if I would shaman their non-monogamy? Yeah. Be their shaman unicorn?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's a tough one. I think having having, and now it's the way I identify. It's just like who I am. I think poly is like just like who you are. But practicing non-monogamy for all these years, I do try to stay away from like baby non-monogamers, baby poly people, just because there's so much to learn and a lot of times we're on different levels, and the way our brains work are very different, which is great. It's like amazing to have contrast and you can learn things from each other. But then it puts me in the guide or teaching role a lot, which I spent a lot of my life there.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to be there. I'm there on the show, and like I'm happy to do it in other ways. So the answer is like I don't really want to seek that out. Yeah, but at the end of the day, like with the right people,
yeah,
you never know. I mean, we kind of like brought you into, you had no experience with non-monogamy really, other than like cheating or infidelity, which is its own version of non-monogamy.
I didn't even know what an open relationship was
before us. So we kind of like, we brought you up and raised you. I don't really want to do that for another couple. It's, you know, it could be, especially at this stage of my life, that could bring a lot of drama, and I don't have space for that. Like I'm, you know, and that's a question I get a lot. Like, you know, you're getting ready to have kids. Are you going to remain open? And it's like, of course, because like that's like asking someone, are you going to stop being like a lesbian, for example, because of X, Y, and Z? And it's like, I can't, I am a lesbian, you know, like I can't, I'm poly. I can stop practicing, right? But that would be like stifling this whole part of myself, a big part of my identity, and who I am. So no. However, I probably will become even more astringent or like really, not rigid, but very particular and specific, with very high standards about who I interact with, because I'm sharing that energy like with my family. And you know, people are always like, oh my god, and it's like, I'm not going to bring, you know, somebody home. I'm actually going to steal this quote from John Romanello, who I saw do in his Q&A. He's like, I'm not bringing somebody home to watch Frozen on the third date. Okay. So he and Amanda like don't have kids yet, but they're just like such a great couple, and his Q&As are always really informative and funny. And I was like, I'm stealing that because it's so true. Everyone's like, oh, you're going to like ruin your kids' lives. And it's like, my kids are going to meet you. Yeah. Which this is a whole other episode too. And you're going to be not meet you. They're going to know you. You're going to be like Auntie Lolo. You're going to be a big part of their lives. But is the person that I just met on Fields, you know, 2-3 months ago, who I've been out with 4 times, going to meet my kids? No. But if they become an important person in my life, then yes, my children will meet all the important people in my life, as they should. And I'm not going to hide my polyamory from them. No. Yeah. So.
Do you want to talk about being a mother?
Let's talk about it.
What are you currently experiencing right now?
A lot. Yeah. It's wild because I came home from the trip and I was so jet lagged, which you know. But we actually didn't talk much that whole last week. I was barely sleeping, and I had this weird occurrence happening where every night I was going into a ceremony, like sober. I would wake up at like midnight or 2 a.m. after going to bed at like 8 or 9 and being really tired, you know, jet lag, whatever, pure jet lag. But I have these like gummies that I usually take to sleep, and they're CBD, but there's like a tiny little bit of THC in them, and they've never made me high before. But so this was like night 1, got so high, and I was like, okay, I'm going to stop taking that. And then just like on melatonin or nothing for 4 nights in a row. Then like the next night I took melatonin, it happened again. And it was like dark. It was like, felt like certain ayahuasca ceremonies that I would have recurring in some of the earlier years that I was working with that medicine. Very dark, very sexual trauma heavy, and, you know, things that happen on the grand scale of the world, like world's problems, human trafficking, down to the things that I experienced that were inappropriate when I was a child, that were sexually inappropriate, that I'm like just starting to work through. And in the later nights, night 3 and night 4, it was all about like, okay, this is your journey into motherhood. You must reparent this part of yourself if you're going to be the kind of mother that you want to be, like if you want to be clear and open. So there have been a lot of changes, and that was just last week. It was literally 4 nights of ceremony. I can't even tell you how wild I would wake up and I'd be like, I'm in a psychedelic space right now. Like, probably a little bit delirious from not sleeping. But it was really big learning because I've focused on other people for a lot of these last couple of years. And for the first time ever, because I'm on sabbatical.
And devoted to yourself.
And this is my year of personal devotion. I'm doing all of these things that sure I did before, but not all at once compounded. So it's like my life, it's, we're just in the second month of the year, but my life is like being on a retreat where I'm meditating twice a day, every day. I'm saunaing and cold plunging, steaming. Like I'm doing TRE and I'm in therapy and I'm taking like long walks and I'm doing a lot of processing on purpose. It's not like, oh, I'm going to do a ceremony, host for other people. I'll do some of my processing like in it because that always happens. I'm really focused on myself, and a lot of my childhood stuff is coming out to play and to be seen and to be experienced. And there's a lot of sexual shame there. And I know that it's because I'm about to be a mom and I don't want to pass this on to my children. And it's really like in our DNA, but the way that we'll parent is the way that we were programmed. And so I have this runway right now to clear that out. And, I'm not as close as I want to be with my own mother at this point in my life. And I've not talked about that on the show really ever. And it's something that I yearn for some days. And then other days I'm like, I don't know. Like, is that what I really want right now? And, engaging her, wanting her to be like healthy in a way that like I want for her is different than, like our parents live their lives and like we, I think, expect things out of them. And I've like grown to learn that my expectations of people are not fair sometimes, right? And like might lead someone to feel like they're not measuring up. Like that happens a lot in my life and I realize that. So working on that relationship with her, because she is going to be a bomb grandmother. Yeah. and I really, really want that. So I want to spend more time with her. And, there's been a lot. It's been an interesting first month of this year as we prepare for, a surrogate pregnancy.
Yes. What would you say are other ways that you are supporting yourself by confronting some of those shadows or fears?
I'm really, okay, this seems so simple, but I've always been a journaler. But I've started doing morning pages, which is part of The Artist's Way, which is a book written by Julia Cameron. It's brilliant, and I've never done it before, and I've had it for 2 years. But writing 3 pages in the morning every day, along with all this other work, has really like shown me how to process and how to be really consistent. Like so much consistency with that helps me not just like write about the same thing every time I go back to my journal because it's like catch up. But it's like every morning I can pick up where I left off from the day before. And there's something about that consistency that helps me go deeper and deeper and deeper instead of just being at the same level anytime I would like pick up a journal. And I think that for me, that's been one of the biggest tools that I've used. And also like owning and accepting the pain that's there instead of, I think for a long time, once I learned about like personal development and taking full responsibility, I use the phrase a lot, like everyone does the best with the tools they have. And so what started to happen was it's like I gave everybody a free pass for kind of maybe the things that they did in my life that didn't feel good to me. And what I realized I was actually doing was just like having zero boundaries. And so I wasn't realizing when my boundaries were crossed because they weren't there. Because I was like, it doesn't bother me. People don't mean it. They're unconscious, right? It was always kind of just like giving out these free passes. And so in this exploration in my journaling and this year, I've been able to really see like that's not a way to heal. That's actually like a form of spiritual bypassing that I'm doing. And now I'm like, okay, let me explore that more. Yes, maybe that person was unconscious and they didn't mean what they did. They were coming from their own place of hurt, or they were under the influence of something, right? When they like did this thing, but it actually still hurt me. So let me like dig into the hurt. Even in places where I was like, but it didn't hurt me. And it's like, oh, actually it did. You just disassociated from that pain because you didn't know how to process it because, you know, you were a kid or whatever the case was, or a teenager. And so it's really like picking at that thing gently and being like, are you sure it didn't hurt? Are you sure it didn't hurt? Well, what if it did? Can you really remember? Can you put yourself back in that moment? What were the other people in the room doing or thinking or saying? And just asking myself certain questions to bring alive those memories, and then like sit with them and really, you know, not to bring it back, but it's a mix of therapy. And then like I would do a session of TRE, which I learned actually in Thailand.
Can you share a little bit about TRE?
Yeah, it's trauma release therapy. And it's just basically shaking. It's inducing shaking in the body the same way that all mammals do in nature. So if you see like a dog, for example, if they get kind of like freaked out or something, or if they come out of a pool, they shake their whole body. And it's a way for them to just release energy that's not theirs. Or like the way that kids throw a tantrum and then the next second they're fine. It's because they got out all of the anger or the sadness or the frustration, whatever it is. Well, we don't do that. And so instead we store it and it becomes solid, becomes dense energy. That's the shit that we move when we do Reiki on people. So TRE is a process of laying down on a bed or safe place and inducing your body to actually tremor. And then eventually the tremors take over and become involuntary. It looks like you're having a fucking exorcism. Yeah. So I've been doing this since Thailand. And I worked with this amazing facilitator there one-on-one. I had one session and I was like, my body wants this. And I've been releasing a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm so happy that you are connecting with yourself in this way. It's as if you're connecting with all of those those feelings that you've had since you were young, and just preparing your body and your heart to be a mom. Yeah. Which is beautiful.
I have that like little interesting weird birthmark, right? That I showed you today. From like, I'm telling you, okay, this is so weird, you guys. Like, you're going to come on this journey with me. You're going to be like, okay, this is like really weird. But there was one night where I was having a lot of like cramping. And it was like this weird stomach feeling that I haven't felt in a very long time. And the only thing that like kind of made me be like, oh my God, this is it. I was like, this is kind of like, feels like I'm ovulating, or feels like a period cramp, or, you know, something of that nature, which I haven't had a period in 10 years. I had a hysterectomy 10 years ago. And so I haven't felt these feelings really. And it was like a scar tissue kind of pull. If anyone's ever had like abdominal surgery, you know what like scar tissue feels like there. Like sometimes it just like gets tense and tough, but you can like almost pull it apart and like it might pop. I wake up the morning after I'm having all this intense cramping and I have it almost looks like a birthmark on my stomach. And I was like, is this a bruise? Did like the scar tissue inside create like a discoloration on the outside on my stomach, like kind of where my right ovary would be? And it's been a week and it hasn't gone away. Like, I mean, you saw it.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy.
No.
I'm like, did I walk into something while I was sleeping? And now I think I have this like phantom, I don't know. But anyway, so there's a lot of changes. Yeah. People listening to the show are probably like, okay.
What is this woo-woo shit?
Yeah. But yeah.
I'm so ready for you to be a mom.
I'm so ready for you to be an auntie.
I can't wait. I'm so ready. I was preparing myself in Aruba, being surrounded by children.
Oh, so I know. That was very cute.
It was sweet.
Yeah. Well, that is a wrap this week on Lolo, my loves. As always, don't forget to like the show and subscribe to it so it's downloaded for you already on your podcast app whenever you open it. Follow us on Instagram. If you want to link up with Lolo and maybe go on one of her retreats, you can find her at Lolo_Urbiztondo. And in the meantime, I just want to remind you all that I will be traveling this upcoming spring into the summer, and I'm going a few places where I'm going to be sharing about polyamory and non-monogamy. So if you are in Tel Aviv or Lisbon or London in the UK or even Rome, as I'm traveling around to these places, I am available to speak or to host workshops in your area. So hit me up and let me know, because I would love to meet you and continue to grow this community with you being a big part of that. I love you all. See you next week.